Koch is a commentator on our society, particularly focuses on issues about race. You'll know he's a close friend of Chester Missing. Conrad, good afternoon to you. This is a white person making a comment about the name of a black person. What does it tell us about our society?
Well, it says we're a colonized country and haven't even begun to be dealt with it, doesn't it, Stephen? You know, the issue with satire or humor is that it punches someone. That's how it works. Humor is a way we decide on group boundaries in a community. We say that this is what's normal and this is what's this is what's abnormal. In another situation, I have a joke in my show on racism, which goes, you know, no Africans colonized Europe. As a result, you've never met anyone called Karen. He goes, my name's Karen, but you can call me Sinkobile because Sinkobile is easier to say. So the concept of not being able to say African surnames is about what's normal for J.P. Smith. And the only reason it's funny is because to that community, the people in front of J.P. Smith, they find African names hard to say. That's the only reason it's funny. So it's a statement about the culture of the people that he's in front of.
You talk about the definition of normal. Is normal often defined by the people who have power in a society? If you don't have power, you don't get to define normal.
But that's exactly the issue, isn't it? There's actually a French philosopher and sociologist called Michel Foucault who's written extensive books about this, in that who is powerful decides what is true. So in other words, if we're going to talk about racism, it's easier to point out racism if there are more black people, more powerful black people around. The less powerful and less black people there are around, the people of color around, the harder it is to talk about these subjects because it's not in white people's interests, which is why English is the dominant language of business, because we colonized this place and enforced our norms. There's no pressure on us to learn to say African names, or very little, especially in a political space like Cape Town.
So how do people change, and how do white people, and I must just include myself in this, how do white people change? I mean, where do people start?
By decentering ourselves and becoming just aware of the dynamics that make our lives comfortable. This isn't about white guilt or lashing ourselves. It's just to be honest about the fact that I'm under almost no pressure to assimilate. I mean, many South Africans, white South Africans in particular, can't even name our 11 official languages. In my show on racism, I deal with this extensively. If you're a corporate who deals with the stuff, this is what I do, is, you know, I name the African languages. You know, people start Xhosa, English, Afrikaans, Sotho, Zulu, Pedi, Mendoza, was he a language? No, he was a person, and he spoke in Kalakata. So the way to deal with the white person is to put ourselves in spaces where Africanness is normal. In particular, by just learning how to pronounce people's names. It's not that hard to do. An amazing story on my TV show on another channel, where one of my writers and my co-host, Mpeng Morobe, who's quite a right-wing leaning black guy. It's quite entertaining. I'm the lefty liberal guy, white guy, and he's sort of right-ish black guy. And he got upset with me because I kept saying Mugabe. And he said, dude, it's Mugabe. Just learn how to say the bloody name. And it's not a small requirement. It's not even learn the language. Just say the name. That's how little we've dealt with colonialism. We're not even willing to deal with names, never mind the language.
Conrad, I mean, what goes on in our society gives you huge scope to examine, to critique, to look at the dynamics in what's going on in South Africa.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing it up, Stephen. I've actually got a show about this, dealing with all the shenanigans that have been going on the last while. I mean, Jacob Zuma was in jail, then he got back out of jail, and apparently he's sick, which is amazing, because this is a guy who fought off HIV with just a shower. I don't know what kind of illness. So I've got a show here. It's called Rama Puppet, and I've got you can probably see it on my screen there. Chester wearing his mask like Ramaphosa, and the whole joke is about the hard time we've had as South Africans. That, you know, with the looting, it got so bad. It wasn't the police that saved us; it was the taxi drivers, and that is why we can laugh together. But let's do it in a way that is anti-racist and anti-sexist.
Conrad Koch, thank you very much indeed. Just to let you know, we did call Councillor J.P. Smith in the city of Cape Town to offer him a chance to explain and a chance to give him a right of reply. He declined our invitation.